urge you to share the feed on Facebook.
Hi there, I'm Faida, and today we're going to be talking about the African diaspora in Mexico.
Whether UK likes it or not, I have to leave this country.
I became a member and a chief of the Vice Lord all in one day.
All these guys, winds are out of the north at Midway Airport.
His father.
Rice and beans. Okay, kids, we have had to come to an end of this beautiful set.
It's not about this.
This is the inside account of a week that brought the Rainbow Nation to its knees.
Right, essentially trying to inculcate into this. Welcome back to the Progressive Mind Show. My name is Senna, aka Alinko, and today we are going to be talking to two great people on the show. It's a double pack for today, so stay tuned. You are logged on to the Progressive Mind Show. It is a minute past 6 p.m. We are here in the beautiful city of Chicago, and we are live on Facebook and YouTube. So once you come on Facebook, please like the page, share it. On YouTube, you can also like and share with your friends. Before I introduce our guests, I would also want to remind our listeners that if you just joined us, we will be having right after Mariyana, Kiana Barber and her team are going to join us to promote the Legacy Awards, which is upcoming. They are coming from they will be representing the WDB marketing in Chicago. So stay tuned to that. Again, remember to like or share the feed once you come on. My name is Senna, aka Alinko. Here is where we build our communities through dialogue. And without much ado, like to go straight to our beautiful guest this evening. Her name is Mariyana Spyropoulos. Mariyana Spyropoulos. Please correct me if I get the name wrong.
It was pretty close.
Okay, so let me try it again. Mariyana Spyropoulos.
Spyropoulos. It rhymes with metropolis.
Oh, Spyropoulos. Okay,
Spyropoulos.
got you. Okay. So before we continue, I just want to give you a brief background of who she is. She is the commissioner for the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago. She has been in this position for over 13 years. She was elected to the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago Board of Commissioners in 2010 and re-elected in 2016 and 2022. She has her Juris Doctorate degree from University of Illinois at Chicago Law School and master's in business administration from Loyola University, Chicago. She served as the MWRD's chairperson of finance in 2013 to 2015 and president of the board of commissioners from 2015 and 2019. She serves as a person of the Judiciary Committee and of the Pension, Human Resources, and Civil Services Committee. She also serves as a MWRD Retirement Fund trustee. She has a very extensive background, but we'll get a few more in before we continue with the conversation with her. Commissioner Mariyana Spyropoulos. I'll get it. After the third try, I'll get it.
Okay.
Has championed the fiscal responsibility, transparency, and environmentally progressive policy for MWRD. She ensured that the MWRD maintains an AA bond rating and balanced budget every year. She's also a member of the MRWD Retirement Fund trustee. She championed pension reform. She also initiated efforts to bring transparency to the MWRD by introducing an inspector general, broadcasting board meetings, and developing an app for residents to report water pollution. Again, a lot of accolades here. In 2022, Commissioner Mariyana was awarded the Alumni Public Servants Award from the University of Illinois School of Law. The University of Illinois School of Law. And I would go, let's go back to our guest so we can continue the discussion with her as we engage her. We'll perhaps learn more about her background. Commissioner, you are so welcome to the Progressive Mind Show. We are very glad to have you.
Thank you, Sana. Thanks for having me on your show.
It's a pleasure. And we want to start by knowing, of course, we've gotten a bit of your background, but aside your extensive accomplishments not only in the city of Chicago, but in the county and the state of Illinois, who are you outside your office?
Well, thanks again for reading my bio. And
reading part of your bio.
Yes. and just so you know, everyone pretty much asks me how to say my name. I think I was ever since I was a kid, people have asked me, how do you say your name? So I always try to say it rhymes with metropolis just to help people sort of say it. So don't worry, you're in very good company with many other people. So
thank you very much.
And you probably get a little bit of that as well with your name, right?
Yes. Yes. Some people would pronounce it Sina, some say Seneca. So I'm like, however you want to mention it, I know you are addressing me, so that's fine. So you're right. I get that too.
So I'm in good company with you.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm a South Side native, South Side of Chicago. I was raised, but my parents are immigrants. as you can tell by my long Greek name.
Okay.
And, they came over to the United States for a better life, for more opportunity. And as I get older, I really appreciate that more and more. People leaving their family and leaving everything they know, their language, their culture, to come to another country to start, fresh. I think I didn't always appreciate it when I was, younger. And I grew up on the south side of Chicago. So, like you said, I got a law degree and an MBA. My parents started a small business, and I worked in that small business. My dad started an auto parts store. So, as the kid of immigrants, you always get recruited into the business, and you have to do, whatever it takes to make it work.
Right.
So, my parents worked long hours, so I saw sacrifice, I saw hard work. And that's why they stressed education. They said, you need to get an education because we want you to try to strive for more. So that's why I got the law degree and an MBA. And when I graduated from law school, I started my law career as an assistant state's attorney in Cook County. I worked in several divisions, from night narcotics to criminal appeals. And then I opened my own law practice, and I did contract work, helping people create businesses. So I did that for a few years, but I've always been interested in government. I think it's a way, I see it as a way to give back. And it's basically to help people in the various respective areas of government that we're in. So I decided to run for office. I ran for the Water Reclamation District in 2010, and I won. And as you mentioned, I was reelected in 16 and 22 because we have 6-year terms. And now, I've brought a lot of change to that agency, and I want to bring that to another county agency called the Clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County.
Okay.
And so I'm happy to get into the details about that.
Absolutely. And right. Thank you so much for giving us another part of your background. But we're also interested in, again, part of your background is connected to the work that you've done as a professional or as a public service. So if Mariyana is not in those spaces, what are some of the hot spots in Chicago you like to maybe dine at or just hang out with friends, if any?
Well, we often go to the Greek Islands restaurant.
Okay.
No surprise there.
Right.
I mean, it's good food. It's a great value for your dollar. It's a fun atmosphere.
Okay.
And a group of friends and I like to go to new restaurants all the time, try to check out a new place. My friends are much better at it than I am, but they pick sort of new restaurants. I'll tag along with them but it's been a little while since I've done that, because when you're campaigning for public office, you don't have a lot of free time.
Right. And your favorite Chicago summer place to hang out?
I think Navy Pier is a great place to hang out, right on the lake.
Yes, exactly. Mariyana, when you said, again, thanks for sharing that family background. When your parents migrated here, I am assuming they located somewhere on the west side of the city?
On the south side.
On the south side, okay. And you were born and raised there?
No, I actually was born overseas.
Okay. Now, did you happen to spend a chunk of your upbringing on the south side of Chicago?
Yes, I was raised on the south side of Chicago.
Now, did any whilst there, was there any particular experience that you had knowing that the south side, a part of the south side is mainly Black and brown people? Were there certain experiences for you that motivated or inspired you into public office or public service? Sorry.
So I grew up in an area called Beverly.
Okay.
And as a Greek American, or as a Greek immigrant, there weren't that many other Greeks in that area, and we're also a different religion, which is Greek Orthodox,
right?
And many people were Catholic, so there was always that, knowing that you're a little different,
right?
And so that was always like in the back of my mind, and also, my dad. Because I was the first person to graduate from college in my family, and going to law school was sort of like a big deal. My parents struggled a little bit, so that's I think that sort of pushed my parents to start their own business.
Right.
And my dad was very a very forward-thinking person, I believe. And had a lot of variety of people working in his small business when he was starting out, working with a lot of different vendors, a lot of other small businesses.
Okay.
And many of those small businesses were owned by African Americans. And I think that exposed me to a diversity of people from a very young age.
Okay.
And I think that was a positive thing.
Right. Now, we can have this conversation without acknowledging the month that we're in. Of course, it's Black History Month, right? Would you say that there had been any civil rights leader or any leader in this country that may have, again, influenced your political career or just inspired you one way or the other? And what's your take on Black History Month?
Well, I think it's been a long time coming. It seems to be something that is sort of evolving over time and gaining more and more momentum, more attention that's necessary, because that's a very important part of the history of this country. And it hasn't really had that, I feel, until the last sort of few years. It's gotten more attention. Certainly, the teachings of Martin Luther King Jr. are something that's very, I think, really touches upon a lot of people. His approach of, sort of peaceful approach in times when he could have been a lot more
aggressive.
He was dealing with very difficult circumstances, and you could see how someone in those circumstances could not take it so peacefully as he did. I think there's a big lesson to be learned there.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Before we dive into your run for the clerk of Circuit Court of Cook County, did I get it right? Okay.
Yes.
What would you say has been your most outstanding achievement with the board of as a commissioner of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation Board, if I got it right? But it's a long name, so please forgive me.
I understood what you wanted to say. So
yeah. So what would you say is your most biggest achievements there, and so we can segue into your run for this new office?
Sure. So just so your listeners know what the Water Reclamation District is, it's a government agency that's county-wide. So it includes the city of Chicago and 125 surrounding communities. And what the agency was created for two reasons: to treat wastewater and to manage stormwater. So back in the 1800s, Chicago had a lot of polluted water that was going into the lake. And so the agency was created to protect Lake Michigan, because that was the source of everyone's drinking water back then, like it is today. So that's still the mission of the agency. It's very important because the whole region depends on Lake Michigan. So we have to protect that. Otherwise, people wouldn't be living in this area if they didn't have access to that clean water.
Okay.
So, I ran for this office because I wanted to advocate advocate for more green infrastructure. And what that is capturing stormwater where it hits on the ground, as opposed to diverting it into pipes and other things underground.
Okay.
Because we have so much climate change, we have so much rain hitting the area, it's causing some flooding in our area. So the green infrastructure reduces the amount that goes into the large pipes, and therefore reduces the amount of flooding. It doesn't solve the flooding, but it does reduce the amount of flooding that we have. So I was advocating for the green infrastructure. It also allows communities to have smaller projects in their areas throughout the county. And number two, in terms of a government side, I introduced the Inspector General. And what that is basically another set of eyes looking at what we're doing to make sure that we're on track, we're doing the right thing. And it allows people to bring concerns that they might have or issues that they might have to be investigated in case it's something there's wrongdoing. So I wanted basically to keep government honest. And this is sort of a big step, because our agency is 130 years old, and bringing this Inspector General took like almost 130 some years to bring this, but we did get it passed, and I'm proud to say that I introduced that policy. So, and I'm sorry, the agency is also $1 billion agency. It's based on tax dollars. So pushing to make sure that we always have a balanced budget. Having $1 billion agency with a balanced budget every year is a big deal. Okay. Having a AAA bond rating is a really big deal. Right. And our pension is in good shape too. So I like to say that I played a small role in making sure that the ship is going in the right direction.
Obviously, you've been in that position for 13 years, so you must have been doing something good.
I hope so.
Right. Now, how does these achievements and more make you, in your own opinion, how can you convince the voters and the general community that these things that you have achieved would make you an effective clerk of the court?
So I'm also a lawyer. So combining the government experience and the legal experience together puts me in a unique position to run for clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County, because the clerk's office is the record keeper for the court system. There's 1,400 employees, and there's $130 million budget, and there's management of these employees, making sure that they're in the right place at the right time, that we're setting an agenda for the office to make sure that everybody is in terms of professionalism, in terms of setting standards for how many, what we want to achieve. So that's all very important. So the way you do that is you have to campaign. You have to campaign throughout the county. You try to get endorsements from newspapers, from elected officials, from the Cook County Democratic Party, and that's what I've done. Also getting your message out to voters, and you do that various ways. You can go and try to meet voters in various places when they have candidate forums, or you go on radio shows, or Facebook shows to try to reach out to voters and let them know, hey, I'm running for this office. These are my ideas on how I want to change that office, and get people motivated to go and vote on March 19th, because that's when our primary is.
Thank you. When Honorable Dorothy Brown was in that office, she had been on the show a couple of times, and something. Among other things, one thing she usually talked about and shared with the community is the need for IT or technology introduced in the court system. There has been public, I wouldn't say public outcry, but there has been issues regarding court systems not being updated regularly. Is this an issue with the court? Just with the court system, the circuit court?
Yes. Okay. Yes, that's true. So, we're in the 21st century. So this is an office that's so dependent on paper. We need to bring technology into it. And there is some of it, but it's not running optimally. So, for example, if you are a person who can't afford a lawyer and you have to represent yourself, some of the only ways that you can know whether you have a court date is to check on the website at the clerk's office. Well, sometimes the website, is down. It's not working. For example, back in 2021, it was down for several weeks. In May of last year, it was down for several weeks, and people can't find out when their court cases. They would have to run down to the courthouse, and that requires them either to find childcare or to take a day off of work. It's very difficult. And sometimes it's not possible for people to do that. If you miss a court date and you have a default judgment against you, it can result in, being evicted, having a loss of custody, a loss of your livelihood. So there's real impacts on people if our technology is not working. One of my ideas is to bring an app where you can check your phone and you get a notification sent to you that says, okay, this is your next court date. It's very simple. Apps are developed every day. And this is definitely something, that we could do in the first couple of weeks that we're, when we win office, to get people, to give them more convenience to find out when their case is.
And how effective do you think this is? I mean, what challenge do you envisage happening? What challenges do you see your administration encountering in implementing this?
Implementing the app?
Yes.
Well, first of all, we have to hire some of the best people in terms of technology. Right. Because there's very sensitive information in the court system. So we want to make sure there's security, but we want to make sure there's access for people. So we have to balance those two. And, knowing that, we have to do that and make sure that we're doing it properly, we got to make sure that we have a really great tech team. And I'm going to, once I win the primary on March 19th, I will have to put together, some of the best people in terms of, the tech people to make sure that we can make this happen. Absolutely.
Because the reason why I asked is that, was this not already in place? And if it was, then how come, why did we have the challenges that we had? Again, in the 21st century, in the city of Chicago, it's difficult to comprehend, right? You would think that things would move smoothly in these spaces. So one would wonder, what was the situation then? Why was it working efficiently? And how is it going to be different this time, right?
Well, it's a great question, Sana. There was an app that had been developed in the past. For some reason, the current administration doesn't think it's important to, continue that because you can't access that. There's no app for the clerk's office right now. In terms of technology, it's been sort of piecemeal. Like, there's certain things that work for certain divisions in court and then not in others. And traffic court hasn't had certain things implemented either. So it's all very, it's not streamlined. And like you said, we're in the 21st century. We're in a major city in the United States. Yep. We need to do better.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for a great response. There's an issue that was reported on CBS regarding a man who was wrongfully convicted. His wrongful conviction was overturned in 2015 and received a certificate of innocence, right, from the Illinois State Supreme Court. His record is still marked as convicted of murder by the Cook County Circuit Court Clerk's office. Again, an issue with so how would you respond to that?
Well, I wouldn't respond the way that the current administration did. That's for sure. This is a tragedy, and it's an unnecessary. This is something that can be solved very. If someone wants to sit down and make it happen, they certainly can. So as you indicated, this man was wrongfully convicted. Number one, served time that he didn't need to. But then once, new evidence came up, he was released. He got his certificate of innocence. moved to a new state to start a new life, but yet the felony wasn't taken off of his record. And it's the clerk's job to take that felony off of his record. And this is not the first time that this has happened. So in May of last year, WBEZ did a story on the clerk's office where if you go through the restorative justice program for low-level felonies and you satisfy those requirements, you can get that felony taken off of your record. And many people were going through the system. The public defender pointed out that many of their clients had the felonies still on the record. When it was raised, this issue was raised to the clerk's office, they pointed their finger to the chief judge and said, it's not our responsibility, when in fact it is their responsibility. So, you know, how I would address it, if you're going to run for leadership, if you're going to run for this office, you need to be able to sit down, and when problems arise, because they will arise, you need to be able to sit down with the stakeholders and say, okay, how do we solve this? How do we solve this problem? So I would call this this man who had been wrongfully convicted and say, how can we help you here in Chicago? If it's a matter of picking up the phone and talking to some other government agencies, then do that. I think that the fact that it was raised by CBS made it really easy for the clerk to be able to solve the problem. And I don't know why they didn't take responsibility for that.
Yes, and in the case where I think people lose their job because of this, in your administration, will there be accommodation made for special cases like this to at least get some restitution, or you know, get people back into the status that they were in before they got these unfortunate cases based off the mistakes or errors of the office?
Well, first of all, let's hope that that doesn't happen. You know, you want to be proactive in terms of, you know, how do you prevent this kind of thing from happening? But also, you know, something I'd want to bring back is called the Expungement Summit. And what that does is help people clear their record. So I would want to go to various communities throughout Cook County. People want to have these expungement summits come back. They used to be under the 2 administrations ago, they used to do expungement summits. They're not doing that anymore for some reason. And what we want to do is work with community groups and legal aid clinics to help people file their paperwork. The legal system can be very intimidating to people who have never had to deal with it. And oftentimes you're dealing with cases or situations that, you know, might not be something positive, especially if it's like an eviction or something like that, that can be very stressful on people. Right. So if they have someone to work with them, to help them. And if we do this legal clinic in various communities, like maybe once a month, that could streamline the whole process, give people more access to justice that way.
Is the legal clinic somewhat in the liking of the expungement, specifically the one that Honorable Dorothy Brown used to run in the communities on a yearly basis?
So it's my understanding that she would run one expungement summit each year. Yes. And so certainly we would want to look at that. Or make it, you know, something smaller more frequently. We'll see, you know, what is the best approach, but definitely I'm not ruling anything out. Right.
And there's also, thank you for the response. There's also an issue of monies being returned back to citizens or people who just needed their monies returned to them for one way or for one reason or the other on a timely basis. Due to, again, the system in the court system, you know, the technology. So a lot is going to the technology, and so that seemed like a problem. Is that an accurate issue with the court system? And again, what would be the solution to that?
So there's I can think of 3 things off the top of my head with regards to money that goes through the office. Okay. When there are fines and fees that are paid through the office, like let's say you get a ticket in a suburb somewhere. Yeah. And then the ticket is paid. Some of that money goes through the clerk's office. And so the clerk, you know, sort of keeps all these monies, and then some of them go back to the municipality where the ticket was. A portion of it goes back. Some of the suburbs are smaller. They have smaller budgets, and they depend on some of that money. Well, the accounting in the current clerk administration is not working optimally.
Okay.
And so some of that money is not going back. That's what my understanding is. Number two, there's child support payments that go through the clerk's office. Some of that is not being processed because they're having difficulty with the technology. And third, there's bail bonds, money that people had posted, and they're having problems with some of that money and refunding some of that money to people. So yeah, there's major problems with the money going through the clerk's office.
Okay. And of course, the fixing of that will be.
I would hire someone who's a comptroller and accountant who understands how to reconcile accounts and make sure that you're sending it to the right accounts as well. So a lot of it goes to like, what's your vision for the office, from big picture, and then the technology on a very specific basis, getting the right people in those spots and having professional people.
Right. And I think something that you talked about earlier, which is the IT, right? I think that if you even look at the corporate world, there are very highly sophisticated, or I would say simplified but very efficient accounting softwares.
Right.
And I don't know if if this is in addition to the holistic IT approach that you want to take, because these are key components or key ingredients, elements that can eliminate some of these issues, some of these minor issues, but very, 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 very impactful within the court system, right?
You brought up something that's interesting in terms of the private sector is a little more agile in terms of embracing technology, embracing the trends, the new things that are in technology.
Absolutely.
And maybe it's just because of the size. A lot of times in the private sector, you have smaller organizations that can move faster, and government is a little larger and is a little slower in terms of that. I want to see if we can try to change that.
Okay.
Because this is an office that depends on that.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about the ABC report on August 15, 2023 about a badly delayed returning of bail bond payments to defendants who had their cases closed. Would you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned before, there's an impact on real people, and this is money that is owed to people. And you need to act on it rather than just deciding like when you want to. This is just one small example of what is going on in the current administration of the clerk's office. I mentioned child support. I mentioned there's also things that the office can do to try to speed up cases. So, for example, we have some of the longest continuances for felony trials in the United States here in Cook County. Now, of course, you're going to have some continuances. That's natural. But for us to have the longest continuance times is something that's that has an impact on families, on communities. And what the clerk's office could do is keep track, of all that. We've got all these courthouses in Cook County. We've got Markham, Bridgeview, Maywood, Daly Center, Rolling Meadows, Skokie, and a lot of the branch courts. What the clerk's office could do is keep track of the continuances and see, are there bottlenecks somewhere in the system where cases are not getting through? Is there something that we can do to try to help that? Because if we don't know why there are these lengthy continuances, we can't try to address some of those problems. But like I said, you're always going to have some continuances for many good reasons. But for us to have the longest period of time, it has a real impact on people. And if we can try to shorten that, we should try to do that. Okay.
Thank you so much. You mentioned earlier when we were talking about your background with the Water Reclamation Board you talked about independent or inspector general.
Yes.
Right. So can you explain, vividly what that means, and also when it comes to being transparent in general,
Mhm.
in plain words, what does that mean, and what does that mean to you?
So for me, government exists to help people.
Mm.
Like that's the purpose of government agencies, whether
Right.
it be for housing, whether it be for child, care, whether it be for human services, whatever the case is, it's supposed to be there to help people.
Right.
So, in a perfect world, it's all working fine, and everything is perfect.
Okay.
But in reality, sometimes we need a little bit of oversight to make sure that we're on the right track, but also to look at where we need efficiencies, because we can get complacent. We can say, we've been doing it this way for 25 years. We're just going to continue that way, and maybe that's not the best way to do it. So an
Okay.
inspector general is basically a little bit of oversight, another set of eyes to look at what you're doing. So
Okay.
at the Water Reclamation District, we brought in the Cook County Inspector General, because the Water Reclamation District is a separate agency and the county is a separate county agency. And so they are our Inspector General. So if people at the Water Reclamation District have complaints, concerns that they want investigated, they can complain to the Inspector General. They do an investigation to see if it's warranted or not, because sometimes it's not something that's real. Or it doesn't warrant an investigation. And then there's a report for what the wrongdoing is. I want to bring that to the clerk of the circuit court's office.
Okay.
There's not an independent inspector general there right now. The inspector general reports to the clerk.
Okay.
So as you can imagine, people don't feel free to report, the problems that they have.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Mariyana Spyropoulos.
Yeah, that's much better.
Spyropoulos. Okay. All right. We I hope we will keep improving and then get perfect by the time we finish this show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a few more minutes to go. We have been talking to Mariyana, who is running for she's a candidate for the clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County.
Mhm.
And she has been telling us about her background, her experience, her achievements with the Water Reclamation Board, and what she intends to do with the clerk, some of the issues and challenges, and how she wants to fix it if she gets elected. If you just joined us, this is the Progressive Mind Show. If you're on Facebook, like the page, share with your members of the community, so we can all be part of this learning experience. We have to know what our leaders are doing, what our elected officials are doing, their challenges and their plans, visions for our communities. And so it's very important that we get engaged. Right after her, we're going to have Kiana Barber and her team with WDB, who are the organizers of Legacy Awards in Chicago. They will be joining us very soon as we wrap up the conversation with Mariyana. Mariyana, do you believe in if you were to become the clerk, if you were elected into office, do you believe in your employees participating, volunteering, helping with your campaign, or even donating to your campaign? Do you believe in that practice? If not, why?
So when I get elected, no,
Okay.
I am not going to have my employees donate to my campaign.
Okay.
They can certainly vote for who they like to vote for, but I would not accept payments from my employees. I think it's important to have a very strong line between government and politics.
Okay.
So I would not be doing that. The current administration does do that. It pressures people to donate to the clerk, and I don't think that's the right approach.
Okay, thank you for sharing with us, Mariyana. And what are the current? I know we've talked about technology with the clerk's office, and even the web. Let's talk about specifically the website. What are some of the challenges or challenges that you've heard people encounter if you going on the website of the clerk's office and doing, and it's processing basic needs, and would there be any specific attention paid to the website? How do you think all of this impact the general public? Of course, you've mentioned it, but we want to look at the website specifically because it's the interface of the entire institution, if I may use that word.
Absolutely. The website is, obviously technology is so important, and it's the point of contact. Unless people could come to the courthouse, right. That's the way that people check a lot of things. So it has to run, and we want to make it user friendly. It has to be user friendly for people, particularly people that are not as comfortable working with technology. So the e-filing system has to be updated, integrated in the Cook County court system, from probate court to the chief judge. We want to ensure everyone is able to interact on an equal basis. Right. Maybe we set up kiosks at public libraries so that people could access. That could be something that could make it a lot more convenient. Right. But again, we want to make sure. I always want to remind people that the security of any of the sensitive information in those files make sure that we have that protected. But just to be able to access your file, you should be able to do that.
Are you willing to? Oh, I'm sorry. I keep thinking that you ended your statement, but go ahead.
No, it's okay. We want to digitize court files. They're not all digitized yet, believe it or not. I want to hire a chief innovation officer that's dedicated to that in the office. They don't have that right now. And like I said, it's got to be, we got to have a mobile component to it as well as access in various sites. And looking into doing like electronic courtrooms would be something else where people could possibly watch some of the court cases. So these are all things that we can explore. Right.
I don't know if there are, of course there would be, so specific budgets for allocations of some of these projects would be the website and other departments of the clerk's office. Of course, are you committed or will you be committed to making sure that there is enough budget? When people hear these issues with technology with the website, I think the first thing, some of the common thinking will be, oh, maybe they don't have the money or they have budget issues. Would you be willing to commit more funds since it looks like there's a lot of issue in that section or that department? Would you be willing to commit more funds to ensure that the technology or the IT section of the clerk's office is functioning and being very effective, at least to the 21st century level that everybody is expecting?
Well, certainly I would fight for the budgets that we need to make the office run in the best way that it can run. But I know that millions of dollars have already been dedicated to the current software and the computer system that they have now. So I'd like to read the contract and what it says in that contract to make sure that all of the promises that were made by the vendor in terms of the system that they have are being supplied. Because if they're not, then that's a problem. But certainly I would fight for the resources to make sure that the technology is working in the way that we need it to work.
Also, Mariyana, as we wrap up this conversation, if I may ask, have you heard of the term African diaspora or diaspora?
Yes, there's a Greek diaspora. So those are people that live outside of where, they come, especially there's a Greek diaspora in the United States. So I'm sure there's an African diaspora in the United States.
Absolutely. Right.
Yep.
And have you had any interactions with them through community work or your law service, anything in that nature? Have any interaction at all?
Yes. Throughout the years I have.
Okay. Most of our listeners are within the African diaspora, and so wanted to just know if there's any connection and if the opportunity arises for us to, have some type of interaction where we would need you to be there to introduce you to our community. Of course, to talk about some of our challenges. We hope that you would be there to to come listen and hear from that community as well.
I would absolutely love to do that. When I win on March 19th on the primary, I'm going to be putting together a transition team. And I want that to reflect the communities that I'm serving. So the best way to do that is to have members of those communities be part of it and hear their input and how we can best serve. So I would welcome that. And certainly they could reach out to you, Senna, because we know each other.
Yes.
And they can also go to my website, citizensformariyana.com. And I'm on social media as well, but I would certainly welcome input because like I said, it's important that we serve everyone.
Great. Let's talk about your endorsements and then we can wrap up. Okay.
Okay.
Tell us some of the people that have endorsed you so far.
Well, we're very excited because we just got the Chicago Tribune endorsement yesterday. We have the former Secretary of State, Jesse White. We have over 150 elected officials and organizations. We have Congressman Mike Quigley, Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy. We have the IVI IPO. We have Citizen Action. Reverend Jesse Jackson is endorsing my campaign. And we've had some really good conversations with him because he has some definite ideas on this office and how we can also make the office serve the communities that most need it. So we'll be having that continual conversation with him as well. But many mayors and state representatives throughout Cook County are endorsing the campaign, and the Cook County Democratic Party, along with Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle, is endorsing my campaign. So we've got a lot of momentum. We have a lot of support. And early voting at the super site downtown is open now. And early voting in communities will be starting March 4th through the 15th. But Election Day is March 19th.
Well, let's take time to hear that again, since it's very, very important, right? But thank you for so much. Thank you so much for sharing your vision, your vision with this, with our community. We would also like to give you the opportunity to again reiterate how people can vote for you, how people can get in touch with you, what kinds of support you need. We did not give out the phone number for our community for folks to ring in. As I stated two weeks ago, we're still encountering some technicalities, some technical difficulties with it. Talking about technology. I guess it's everywhere. But we should be back running very soon. In the meantime, if you have a question or comment, you can put it in the Facebook or YouTube chats. If you have a question, please go ahead and put it in the chat so we can read it out to the candidate for before he takes leave of us. Now, Mariyana, so let's give you the opportunity, please. How can people reach out to you? What are some of the support that you need? What are some of the events you have coming up that you would like the community to be part of?
So I'm on all social media platforms, except for we're not on Snapchat. And we're going to start TikTok soon, but we're on Facebook. We are on X. We are on Instagram. We're on LinkedIn. And we have a big event at the Billy Goat Tavern on February 26th at 5:30. So if people would like to support the campaign, they're welcome to come to the Billy Goat Tavern. And, basically just telling your network to vote for Mariyana Spyropoulos for Clerk of the Circuit Court. My punch number is 92. If you want to have a lawn sign or something, just reach out to us through the website. Citizens for Mariyana, and you can ask for a lawn sign. Basically, you're advertising my name on your front lawn for a few weeks, so people will vote. But basically, it comes down to the vote. You're making sure that people get out to vote. It's very important that people express their opinion, that they go to vote. March 19th is the primary, but you can start early voting on March 4th through the 15th. And early voting, if you go downtown to the super site, you can vote there as well. That started already.
How has the campaign been going so far for you?
So far, it's great. We're getting all the major endorsements. We also have a commercial on TV that you might be seeing here and there. And we're just getting the message out. It's about making sure the government works for people, ethics and transparency. It's really exciting to see people really jumping on the bandwagon and supporting our campaign.
Okay. So it is best to put it here. It's vote punch 92, right?
Yes.
Okay. Number 92 is what it is, and the date again is March 19th.
You got it.
Okay. Well, we have now. Let me ask this. I know you said it's going on well. Okay. I think our time is up. Okay. We're gonna have to get ready for the next slide. But
okay,
Mariyana, if there's anything that you wanted to get up that we couldn't get a chance to speak about, please feel free to share that now.
Well, I just want to remind people there's a primary coming up March 19th. I'm Mariyana Spyropoulos. I'm running for clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County. We want to make sure that the clerk's office works again. There's so much dysfunction and mismanagement in that office now. And so it's important for people to vote punch number 92 to make sure that we get in this office, and we make sure that we are able to implement the plans that we have to make the office work, make it accessible, and make it ethical and transparent.
Thank you. Looks like that's a question that just came through, and I really want you to respond to this. If people want to volunteer, where would they go? Something like that.
So go to the website, citizensformariyana.com. And there's an opportunity for you to put your information in and said, I would like to volunteer. We have texting, we have phone banking that people can get involved with, or if they just want to put a lawn sign, or if they want to let people know or come to an event, we are happy to have you on board.
Fantastic. Well, Mariyana, thank you so much for coming on the show. We're looking forward to hosting you sometime when you win. If you win, we're wishing you the best of luck in your campaign. And then, of course, looking forward to engaging you here one way or the other. Have a wonderful evening, Mariyana. And for all our listeners, we will be coming back right after this short break to host Kiana and her team who are hosting their annual Legacy Awards here in the city of Chicago. Stay tuned. We shall be right back after this break. Mariyana, have a wonderful evening and take care.
Thank you, Sana. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There is a cry. Aglo, Aglo, Aglo. Aglo Bolingbrook Lighthouse is a network of caring women. We are a dynamic global movement with a single mission to see God's purpose fulfilled on earth as it is in heaven. Our mandate is every nation touched and every heart changed for God. We invite you to our prayer meeting every Saturday and breakfast meeting held every last Saturday of the month from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. via Zoom meeting. For more information, please contact Dickness Rebecca Modi at 630-297-1471 or Reverend George Ofe Ado, our advisor, at 630-414-9505. We look forward to having a refreshing time with you in the Lord. Thank you and stay blessed. There's a cry in my heart.
Welcome back to the show. This is Senna, aka Alinko, with the Progressive Mind Show. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. As I said earlier, once you're on Facebook, you know what to do. Like the page, share it to your community so we can be part of this community building process. And of course, if you're on YouTube, like the page as well. As I said, we are going to be hosting the team from the WDB marketing, and they are in the house, and we're going to be talking to them very soon. We just got down talking to the candidate for the clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County, Mariyana Spyropoulos. Now, she's not here, so even if I butcher the name, she can hold me to it. So, but I hope I did well. I'm trying to make sure that I get it right. But for this fellas in here, they don't have no Spyropoulos. They don't have that, so I wouldn't have to struggle getting that. I have Brother Freddie in here. Okay, so we have Brother Freddie Taylor, who is the founder and CEO of Urban Intellectuals. Brother Freddie, thank you so much for joining the show today.
Thank you, good brother. I appreciate you having me today. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Brilliant. Pleasure is mine. And then we have the one and only Kiana Barbara in Chicago. She's the you can't, if you Google Kiana, she should be the only person that pops up. If not, you're getting the wrong person. It's Kiana Barbara, the only one and the owner of WDB Marketing, who are the creators or the producers of the Legacy Award here in the beautiful city of Chicago. Kiana, welcome to the show again.
Thank you. Good evening.
My pleasure. And so, ladies and gentlemen, of course, Kiana has been here before. So Freddie is a new face here. So I would begin with Freddie. You typically lead ladies first, right? So I have to go to the lady, but I wanted to give you that honor, but I have to go to the lady. Kiana, this is the second time. We are happy to have you. For those who are watching and haven't heard of WDB Marketing yet, exactly what is it?
Yeah, so we are a full service marketing and printing company. Been in business for 19 years. And I like to say we are just proud of supporting so many Black owned businesses with their brand. So we do everything from graphic design, photography and videography, full service printing. I'm always proud to say we're one of the largest Black owned print manufacturers in the Southland area. We do everything from signage, t-shirts, apparels, backdrops. So if you're a small business and you need anything done to bring your brand to life, we would love to help you.
I am sure you've been very busy for this past days, right? Because I know the big day is coming.
Oh man, it's been crazy. Legacy, I feel like every year I add something else to it. It's hard. It's so tempting not to, because I understand, like, I want certain experiences to happen. I want certain people to connect and meet. So I'm always adding something to the plate. And this year is definitely no exception, but I'm excited. So many good things happen from Legacy. So it's worth all the hard work. It really is.
Great. And it looks like gradually, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's looking like the event to go to, the business event to go to experience Black excellence, Black professionals, mixed in with culture and just good vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we do a little bit of everything. So we have amazing people like Freddie. Freddie's one of our honorees this year. We bring out, I feel like, the brightest and the best, but we also bring out people who are humble and want to work with each other. So that's a big difference, and why I'm always so proud of our network, because you might be a startup, but you're in the room with somebody who's done 5 million in business, but they're approachable. They want to talk to you. They want to coach you. So because that's our network anyway, we get a little bit of everybody that comes to WDB, from a small business to a corporation. That's who we invite into the room. And like you said, we kicking it off. Freddie ain't been yet. We kicking it off with a Black Wall Street area, different things like that. So even with everything that we do, and as fancy as it is, we always still make sure we take it back to the ancestors, to the historical piece, because that's where we come from. And we always got to acknowledge where we are today is only because of them. So Legacy is definitely a blend of all of that.
Right. We'll come to the details of the event. Sounding exciting already. Freddie Taylor, my brother, tell us about Urban Intellectuals.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you for opening the space for me again, having me here. But at Urban Intellectuals, Black History Made Easy. That is the work and the mission that we're on, because we find that our community want to know and understand their history and to have a powerful narrative to use to inspire the next generation. But they don't want to necessarily be PhDs at the end of it, right? They don't necessarily 16-hour courses. So they need Black History Made Easy. And that's what our company focuses on. We do that with a series of educational products. Black History flashcards is really our #1 bestseller. But we have playing cards, bingo games. We just infuse Black history into fun and entertainment. Secondly, we have the Sankofa Club, which is the #1 Black History Club for children that we teach online live Black history classes to children via the Zoom platform. And then finally, our Black History travel experiences, where we take people around the world to see the locations, to see the history up close and personal, to taste and feel the culture and the people, to really expand their minds and have an experience of a lifetime.
Wow. How long have you been doing this in the city of Chicago?
I've been full-time in this business since 2014. I didn't even think about that. It's 10 years. Like, wow. I mean, you're so busy working, right? Like, it's just
time to celebrate, Freddie.
Yeah.
Right. Do you have your family involved in this business?
Yes. My wife has her own business. She's doing her own thing, but she's always in support. But both my children work for the organization. So it's a real honor to employ them. And to have them finding themselves and being an important cog in the wheel of something special that we're building.
Isn't that powerful and beautiful that we incorporate the young people, our children, into the businesses, the legacies that we're building, so that they can continue it. And thanks for being a great example in our community and being a leader. Before Urban Intellectuals, maybe where you incorporate, and what made you decide to go this route?
Wow. You caught me off guard there. Before Urban Intellectuals, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I have had 2 jobs in my lifetime. One job in high school, one job in college. So I've always been looking for an opportunity. I've owned many businesses before this one, right? But this is the particular iteration that kind of made everything happen and unfold. I used to own, right before this business, I actually still own it. I just don't promote it at all. We had a web design company, right? I still got some clients that's hanging around. But once my cash flow from Urban Intellectuals met the cash flow inside of this particular business, I decided to jump in with both feet. Because if I was doing it half of my attention, then what would happen if I doubled down and focused?
Great. And you said you with your work with the Urban Intellectuals with kids, you've traveled into a few countries, right? Outside the United States.
Yes. Okay. Not just children. We take families, we take adults, we take seniors on Black History travel experiences. We started focusing on Africa. We go to Egypt, Morocco, Nigeria, Ghana, Senegal, Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa, and we're opening up Brazil, Colombia, and just starting to do more and more of this, visiting the African diaspora and seeing it for ourselves, and not just accepting the narratives that are being handed to us. And this is what we're breaking down the barriers between the global African people.
Wow. So if anybody wants to go to any African country, let's say for your next trip, it's some other African country, maybe it's Mozambique or Cape Verde, and they have not yet traveled to Africa, they can reach out to you and you can sponsor them. Is that how it works?
Oh, we do group travel. I'm sorry, I didn't explain that part.
Right.
We plan the trips and we have them on our agenda, and they're laid out where we're going, what time to be there, and the following and all of that. Right. Sign up and join the trip, and then just relax. Because a lot of people are afraid to make those decisions. Like, who do you go with when I get there? What do I do? What do I need to say? Am I going to be safe? So they want to go with somebody skilled and experienced. And our organization has done this, and we're laying it out and making it easy for you, right? So Black History Travel made easy.
Yes, right. How did you get connected with WDB Marketing?
Oh, I don't remember when we first met. I know we've met.
AC Green. I'm gonna give you a tip.
Yeah. We were guests on the show and got an opportunity to talk. And I've always seen our organization and kept an eye on it as I've been a business owner in the space. But I know we really got a chance to bond and connect, one through Sarita, Sarita Love, who is a connector here in the city of Chicago. Right. I'm a bit of a hermit in the area, so they kind of pulled me out. Okay. But then Kiana and I joined the same professional organization. And then we started getting an opportunity to really bond and get to know one another. So I'm glad for the opportunity to rebuild a relationship.
Awesome. And Kiana, you've been hosting this awards for some time now. This is the 13th, 12th annual?
No, this is the 7th annual for the gala, and then the 3rd annual for the conference.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've been in business 19 years, but
right. And you this time, what made you select Freddie Taylor as one of your honorees?
You know, that is a great question. I love to ask this because everybody always asks me for a legacy award. My inbox be blowing up, and I like to tell people that when we choose people, it's for a couple of reasons. One may be success, meaning exponential growth, but normally it's about how you've used that success to make a greater impact. That's right. Really because that's really what legacy is about. So if Freddie is just successful, but he's never going back and touching the community, how he's educating people, all of those things make a difference. So the fact that he's educated at least 500,000 people is really more because those decks go and hit multiple hands. So let's say times 5. So he's helped more 2.5 Black people know about 2.5 million. Know about Black history. The fact that he's taken so many Black people back to Africa to understand their roots, and he's made it easy, like he said. So it's been about not only the idea that he came up with, but it's been about how he's been able to transform so many people. So that's how we choose our honorees. It's about not only my success, but how do I use that to make a greater impact?
Right. Great. Freddie, quickly, how many times have you been to Ghana?
Personally, I've been 3 times, but the company has been about 10 since we started.
Okay. And then Kiana, I know you've been one time last year.
No, I have not been. I've only been to South Africa and Ethiopia. So I am going this year, though. My goal is to get on the continent at least twice this year, but I've been to South Africa and Ethiopia so far.
All right. Okay. We'll talk about going to Ghana offset because we're doing a historic trip. We're going to see the king that came here to crown African Americans as kings and queens. Okay. He's given land to African Americans, and so we're going to go this year to see the land. And so that's something definitely we should be talking about. And so. Wow, I for some reason I thought you've already been to Ghana, Kiana, and so
yeah, that's the first country you're supposed to go to. I know, but I hopped on a trip. Somebody was already planning in South Africa, but I'm taking my mom, so she hasn't been on the continent yet. So that was part of her birthday present that we go get on the continent so she can step her feet on the land. Most of what I've learned about Egypt and I started learning about our culture and our history at like 7. You know, thought I was a revolutionary at 7 years old, but it wasn't that. Just my mom, she made me conscious that we were kings and queens. She let me see the books that she was reading. So I've always had a passion about it, and I'm super excited I know it's a side note, but I'm excited to take her because she has not been on the continent yet. So I know it's going to be a special moment for her.
Absolutely, and I think it's appropriate. We're going to get into legacy awards. We have a few. We have plenty of time. It's very appropriate that we touch on these things, especially in the month of Black History, right? So we get to see the power on both sides. Freddie, this is not new to you. You've seen it, and it's probably why you do this thing even more, right? So folks can see, how we all connected, the heritage, the resources, and how we can all take advantage of what's on both sides, right? And so, Kiana, do you think that there is a lot of wave now within the African American community when it comes to paying attention or start looking at Africa or their heritage in a way that you have not seen over your how many years in this?
It's not the same as when I was 7. At the time I was 7, people were like, Kiana, you don't like other cultures. And I'm like, no, but I'm also conscious and proud of our. So no, I've definitely seen a shift. I still want to see it go even higher. When people really being interested in visiting the continent, they have to make it a little bit easier for us to travel. They make it very easy for us to travel to other places. But I've been very proud of it. I think that our consciousness has just really shifted probably over like the last 5 to 7 years, Freddie. I don't know. It started a little bit before that, but we had a newspaper back in the day to take it all the way back, probably about 12 years ago, where we had a black dollar in there. We talked about Black Wall Street. And I mean, at the time, 12 years ago doesn't seem like that long ago, but people didn't even know about Black Wall Street then. When we were putting that paper out, people didn't know that, but now the consciousness is at a much higher level. So I definitely am excited to see people wanting to go back to the continent. I also want them to understand the value that's there. So don't just go just a vacation, go to help build, go to help. How do we really build a connection there?
Yes.
So that's what I think it's going to take some time. We got to get over there. It's always the early adapters that go over there. Like you just said, we would meet the king, meet people who are given land. So we have to really be the connectors. And take other people over there, but people are going to follow us. But they made it this perception for so many years that it was impoverished area, that we weren't wanted over there. So it's like, I think that's just now becoming a thing where people understand that it is a desire. Like, they do want me over there. I should explore over there. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see so many people wanting to get on the continent now.
Great. And the last question, then we go to Legacy Awards. Freddie, have you purchased land there in any of these African countries or set up any business yet?
I haven't, but I got a plan to do that. In fact, my wife and I have made a decision that we're going to move to the continent. I didn't want to buy just yet. I want to go over there and live and move around. I need to get to Ghana first, because I understand the lay of the land, the infrastructure. I got some friends and people there. But we want to get over there and move around to figure out what part of Ghana do we like, first of all, but then second of all, move around the continent. And see what country that we like. And it's 54 countries on the continent of Africa. I've only been through a handful of them. So I definitely want to expand that opportunity. So our first step of that was getting my wife to Ghana last year for her first time in February. By day 2, she was like, let's move. Like, we don't got to go back, right? But then that April, we went to Sierra Leone and got our dual citizenship. So we've done our ancestry and figured out that that's where we're from. So now we're actually dual citizens of Sierra Leone, which gives us passport-free access to many African countries. So now here we go, setting up the infrastructure and laying the foundation for making our move over to the continent, because of the economic opportunities that is happening, because of reconnecting, our family, our lineages, and our people, and because of building a bridge for people to come home. But I definitely want us to go get involved with the entrepreneurship on the continent. I was reading a study, brother, if you don't mind me just sharing.
Please go ahead. Yes.
The study said that over the next 30 years, somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 to 800 million Africans are going to be lifted out of poverty. This is because the continent is going through the Industrial Revolution. And for context, the Industrial Revolution here in America lifted 30 to 35 million people out of poverty and into the middle class, and it made them a world power. So something 10 times bigger is happening on the continent. So I just urge people, instead of watching and complaining about other communities and what they're doing over there on the continent, to get up and go get involved. Africans here in the diaspora have wealth, education, power, understanding, skill sets, drive, determination. You got everything necessary to be an asset over there in the continent and globally for the global African diaspora in general, not just on the continent, but that relationship will benefit us here as well.
You couldn't said it any better, my brother. There's a reason why Ghana is known to be the gateway to Africa. Ghana has long had a relationship established by its forefathers through Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the founder of the country, and Dr. Martin Luther King. And I keep saying it on this thing. I keep saying this on this platform. These two gentlemen laid a strong relationship, formed a strong relationship, which is trickling down to what we're seeing today. Kwame Nkrumah got inspired by MLK when he came to school here. They both were at Lincoln University. They formed a strong bond, and when Kwame Nkrumah saw what was going on during the civil rights and how MLK was going about things and how, things were going on here, he's like, man, I can go to Ghana and negotiate freedom for my people. Because at the time, the British were ruling us, and so were a lot of African countries. And so he got to Ghana, and with the help of others, got independence for us, drove the British away. And then soon after, a lot of other countries, including Nigeria, and everybody started getting their independence. And so if there's a reason why they say Ghana is the gateway to Africa. If you look at the coat of arms, the seal of government of Ghana, you will see freedom and justice. Now, a lot of us don't know, even Ghanaians don't know this, but the freedom of justice in the seal of Ghana's government is connected to the freedom and justice of African Americans too. So Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and MLK had the same spirit, that one day that freedom and justice will be full, right? It will come in full circle for both brothers on the continent and the folks here. And so it's no coincidence that we're seeing what is happening today, right? That Black folks are going back home, Africans are opening their doors and welcoming, which is what led to Ghana officially stating the year of return in 2019. And that is the first time any African country had declared that. Okay, so this is very, very significant. We are in an era where this is supposed to be happening, right? And in the absence of you all, the African Americans who, like you said, have everything it takes to help in building Africa, the Chinese have seen what they've seen, and they are gladly there. They are learning the language. They are building churches. They're building schools. They're becoming part of the culture. They're not caring about nothing. They're going there to live because they have a 30-year plan. And we also need to have our 20, 30, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30-year plan, African Americans. The diaspora needs to be working hard, very seriously on that. And as leaders, I think these are some of the high-level conversations we should be having, right? So thank you for sharing. I think this is not a forum for that, but it's very necessary that we touch on it because, of course, it's Black history. And this platform is known for that. We hold this conversation all the time. This is what we're known for, and we're happy to have these conversations. But let's go into why the main reason why we're here, which is the Legacy Awards coming. So it's a Legacy Awards Gala. Kiana, did it morph from just Legacy Awards to Gala now? Because I don't know if the Gala was there 2-3 years ago.
No, so it transformed actually from Legacy Awards Gala to Legacy Awards Weekend. Again, because I'm a crazy entrepreneur. So it started out as just a gala. I always like to tell people, like, it started out, we were in business for 10 years. And like I said, because we're in print, because we're in marketing, we touch so many businesses. And at that point, we were working with like almost 1,000 businesses a year. And I was like, I wanted to just honor God for where he had brought us from. And I wanted to do something that connected our network. So it literally started out as we're going to do a networking event, have everybody come out. And then I was like, I started my business at 22. Well, we need to do something where we pass the torch to the next generation. So I added the Young Entrepreneur Award. And then I was like, well, we got so many clients that have amazing restaurants. How about they do the food showcase? So it literally started out like that. And you can kind of tell when something is needed. It's an organic reach. So without any we promoted, of course, because that's who we are, but we had almost 500 people come out the very first year. So we knew it was something special, and we knew it was something that needed to continue. And over the years, I added the conference, which I'm super passionate about. Everybody come to the conference, just because that's the educational piece. I joked earlier that everybody asked how they can get the award. We got to do the work in our business. We got to learn about our business. We constantly have to fine tune. Like Freddie said, we're both a part of the organization, and we're 7-figure businesses, but we're constantly fine tuning our business and figuring out what are we doing wrong? What could we be doing better? So as entrepreneurs, we have to really focus on how do we continuously elevate our business. So I added the conference 3 years ago, just because I said that piece is missing. We have a great time. People network, great connections are made. Of course, the Young Entrepreneur wins great award, but I'm like, we need something that really kind of helps move the needle for our businesses. So I added the conference, and from there, we've just added a couple of ancillary events. So we do a legacy talk now. I actually haven't announced this. I think Freddie will love this, but our legacy talks happened that Thursday, the day before the conference. And this year we have the original founder of Uncle Remus. So he is 96 years old, and he's literally going to talk about his idea and how he got started, how he's passed it down to his daughter now, Charmaine. So, having conversations like that is powerful. Before he leaves this earth, can he share his story? Can he share his insight? And, Uncle Remus, he part of the war, Uncle Remus or Harold's. So I'm honored to be able to have that. So now we have Legacy Talk, we have the conference, and then we have the awards gala. So that encompasses the entire weekend.
Great. I guess we would have to retract a little bit for first timers, those who are hearing this for the first time. Let's give them a clear picture of course, we know what WDB marketing is. What constituted this Legacy Awards Gala? What is the framework? I mean, what gave birth to it? And let's walk through the first day, second day, and is it 3 days? 2 days?
It's 3 days.
Great.
Yep. So a lot of people don't know. I think I talked about this last time I was on, but I started my company in honor of my brother Bobby, who got killed in 2004. So I was a baby fresh out of college. So I started this company called What's the Business? That's actually what WDB stands for. A lot of people don't know that. What's the business? Okay. That's actually what it's because my brother started that company literally a year before he passed. And we had a meeting the night before he passed away and talked about what was going to bring our family our first $1 million. So when he passed, I just prayed and I asked for guidance, and God was like, it's literally through this company. And so I started it. And then, like I said, after 10 years, that's how the name Legacy Awards came about. It was like just paying homage to how far God really brought us. People think I have a marketing background. I'm a pretty sharp individual, graduated from Northwestern, but it wasn't in business. I literally only worked one job for about 2 years. And after that, I started this business. So to see where he took us, and to see the impact that we were able to have, that's why we started Legacy, because that's literally the example, what we wanted to show people. So to talk about the 3 days, it kicks off Thursday, February 29th. Okay. We do a virtual conference that morning. So we talk a little bit more about money, mindset, because you got to have your mind right to really be in business. You got to have your belief systems in place. So we talk a little bit about money. We talk about mindset. We have people doing seminars on AI, on selling online, different things like that. And then that night, as I mentioned, we do our signature Legacy Talk. So anybody who has a weekend pass gets access to that event. And then Friday, March 1st, is our in-person conference. Now, I will put a disclaimer. It is an immersive all-day experience. So we are there. See, me and Freddie come to TSP. So we used to 10-hour conference days. So it's all day. But we have 30 speakers. Freddie's speaking. He's speaking on the Who Not How on team. I have Tequila Shabazz, which is an amazing Black woman with a 7-figure virtual assistance company, talking about the vision, the planning, and the process. We have conversations around Tim Lewis from Curl Mix is doing something on financing for growth. They funded over $4.5 million in crowdfunding. So we have some amazing people. Our keynote speaker is Young Jeezy. So a lot of people ask about that, but Jeezy, not only has he become a best-selling author with his book Adversity for Sale, but he's also an example of like redemption. Like he's an example of what Chicago really is and showing what you can do, with your talent, showing that you may have been in the streets, you may have been doing something else, but you really are talented. You're really a brilliant entrepreneur. You just need to apply it in a different way. So he's going to close out that evening. And then that Saturday is our signature event, our awards gala. So that's what we have this year, over 20 Black restaurants. That's included with your ticket price. We have 5 Black-owned spirit brands, including Uncle Nearest, Love Corkscrew. We honor 7 amazing people, including Freddie from Urban Intellectuals. And we give a Young Entrepreneur of the Year an award for over $25,000 in prizes for their business. So I know that's a lot. People ask me, how do I break it down simpler? But it's like, you got to go to the website. You just got to get in the room. I always tell people, like, we literally make this event so that everybody feels welcome. We don't keep our ticket prices where they are affordable. We know $500 and $600 galas. We don't do that because I believe, again, that a person that's just starting up in retail should stand next to a Freddie, because I also know Freddie's spirit. So I know Freddie will help him if he's just starting to say, well, hey, you don't want to do this. These are the mistakes that I made. So I think that we need more events where we're shaking things up.
Right.
Certain groups just always hang around each other. So they only point to each other. We literally shake things up with Legacy. We let young entrepreneurs come to the conference for free.
Okay.
Like everybody who applies to our contest, and we've done that for years without publicizing it. Everybody who comes, if you're not a finalist, we email you, hey, I'm sorry you didn't make it, but we would love for you to still attend. And I would say probably about half take us up on the offer. So they're still getting the knowledge. They still figuring out how to do better in their business. So, I'm just really passionate about what it is that we do. And I just feel like everybody, if you're in business, it's so many reasons, even if you establish, even if you're high 7-figure, 8-figure company, you need to be in a room to maybe connect, but if not, to give somebody else something to help mentor them and to educate them. We all have a responsibility when we're successful, I feel like, to really help that next generation and not die with all the knowledge. We did it. I made 1,000 mistakes. We all have made 1,000 mistakes in business. And it's like, why not try to help somebody else and be honest about it? But that's literally what legacy is. A lot of our young entrepreneurs naturally get mentored. One of the young ladies, she won a few years ago. She ended up getting a job at Yale Organics. They ended up donating 10,000 from her. They met at Legacy. Just kind of creating a meeting ground and a platform allows for so many other things to happen.
Right. I'm very impressed with your organization, the awards, and so are a lot of people. And one gentleman that I saw at your I think he won the 25,000 prize, something like that. But he did a presentation. I think his company produces ladders, and he made a brilliant presentation.
Yes, the escalator.
For some reason, I can never forget his presentation. Like, excellent. I don't know what he's doing, but I really would love to talk to him on the show sometime, or even because that idea, I can see that idea thriving in Africa like crazy. We don't have that.
That's a great point. He didn't win. He was a runner-up, but I continue to mentor him. His name is Jarvis Jones. So I would definitely make sure and the same thing, like they hungry for this information. Like when Jarvis got his prototype, Miss Kiana, you the first person I want to see it. So they're looking, they're innovative, they're talented, but they're looking for those resources. How do you take a product to market? I don't have all the answers for that, but I tell them, but I can also connect you. So I would love to, he's doing it. He has his prototype. He's now in his seed funding round, but he needs some guidance. He needs some support. So I'll definitely make sure I connect you all.
Thank you. And Brother Freddie, don't you think, you mentioned something earlier, you talked about 25 different restaurants. Kiana, I'd like you to break it down a little bit when we come back, like why 25 and how people are gonna, but Freddie, apart from you being an honoree in this year's Gala Awards, what other roles are you playing with either Kiana or the Legacy Awards, all of that?
I'll be the master networker in the room. No, but definitely going to be working the room and enjoying the opportunity to engage with all of the people. I have an opportunity to give a talk on that Friday night, so I'm going to try to leave it all on the stage and leave some real jewels of wisdom. And for the young people, I just finished a Tuck School of Business, their Dartmouth program, literally this weekend, right? And I'm beaming with information that I want to share with the people. So I'm really excited. It's like perfect timing, Kiana. I had to readjust my presentation a bit. I've been meaning to tell you that. But it was a beautiful experience. So I just can't wait to share my knowledge, share my insight, and share some of my missteps, right? So that people don't have to make them themselves. And I think like that's the biggest thing in our community is we're not sharing. We're acting like that we have an opportunity to make all the money. You can't make all the money. It ain't enough money in this. You ain't got enough business on this world to make all of it. And nobody's going to steal your ideas. They're busy trying to make it their way. We need to share. I think this is what the previous generation did much better than us. And this is something that we got to bring back. So we got to be the change we want to see in the world. So I'm definitely here for it. So I honor Sister Kiana and the work that they're doing. And I'm just glad to be a small cog in the wheel.
Oh, great. I may have misheard it, but what topic are you speaking on?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got fired up.
No, it was my fault. I wasn't specific, but I want to know now.
Yeah, I'll be speaking about team building. And I like the link that I want to tie is the power is in your people. And that's it's the power in the people. It's the same with the African diaspora. The power is in the people. So when we get to a point to not only be able to honor, to be worthy enough for good people to work for your company, but to start building a system that trains and develops people, right? So if you as a business owner, you have to understand that the ideal situation is that you are a training ground for people. You can bring people in, you can train them up, you can give them specific tasks and ways to think and operate inside of your enterprise, and you can do this continually as you grow and scale. But it's going to start with the who, not how conversation right at the beginning. So I'm really excited about it.
Okay, and so Kiana, the first day, how many panelists are we expecting the first day?
So the virtual day, we have about 8 panels.
Okay.
So I can talk a little bit. So we're having something on setting your thinking, your habits and goals to attract abundance. We're doing AI for personal and professional planning. We're doing something on wealth building through trading and investment with Ernest Curry from the Profit Room, who's amazing. Stuff on online selling, and then just a success mindset panel where we have some people who've been super successful in the business, but just talking about what is that mindset. So I always like to say that Thursday kind of preps you. That's why it's virtual. You can be in the comfort of your home, but we want you to be ready for everything that we about to pour into you for that next day. So we really want you thinking about your business, and we want your mindset right for that. And then, like I said, I don't know when you're ready to ask me about Friday, but Friday is going to be
go ahead. Which Friday?
So I'll piggyback off something that Freddie just said about not it's room enough for all of us. So one of the panels I'm talking about, I'm going to start it out kind of creating a framework for what creates a legacy business. So what does that look like? And legacy can mean different things. It can mean getting certain value, selling. It can mean leaving it to your family. And then we have Tequila talking about vision and being clear on it. And we have Freddie talking about team. And then we're going to have 2 giants in the coffee space, Trez Pugh from Sip and Savor and Tracy Powell from Momentum together on the stage. So between both of them, gentlemen, they both have at least 4 locations, coffee houses. So we're going to show one that is room for all of us at the table. They're both in Chicago. They're both powerhouses. And they're talking about the culture of excellence. So we talk about business and we talk about being successful. Excellence has to be a part of the conversation. That's how you stay around long term. So they're talking about the culture of excellence. We have the number 15 trademark lawyer in the country, Rosina Pierce. She's flying in to talk to us. She's originally from Chicago, has done an amazing job just building up her brand. And she works with a lot of like huge brands and celebrities around the world. We have Dee Robinson. A lot of people don't know her. She's also one of our honorees. And I'm putting her on the stage with Clerk, who's the newest AFL owner. He purchased the rights to the Chicago Rush. So you got a young Black man, 40 years old, owner of an AFL team, and you have this Black woman that has over 7 restaurants in between O'Hare and Midway. So they're going to be talking about how do they break barriers in these unique industries. She also just launched her first bourbon line. In addition to that, we have a marketing power hour. Of course, that's powered by WEB, but we also bring in people that we partner with. Videographers, people who specialize in AI, people who specialize in ad placement. So we're going to have an hour and a half to just talking about marketing, deploying those assets and things like that. So we covering all that's, with this, and we closing it out with Jeezy. He's going to be talking about real estate investments. He's done a tremendous job being able to really have a relevant brand. Jeezy, when I talk about what's the business, and when I first started, he was like my soundtrack in like 2005, 2006. So for him to still be a relevant figure, for him to still be able to put out a best-selling book, for him to be able to have several brands. He was a part owner in Avion Tequila, showed his shares. Now he owns a water. His goal, he talked about that on a couple of podcasts, is to build up to a certain value and sell. So I think that we don't understand how strong of a businessman. And he even talked about the fact that even when he got into entertainment, his goal was always entrepreneurship. But he knew that was a pathway to get to the deals and be able to do brand endorsements, because just looking at him, they may not have taken him as serious. So he saw entertainment as a pathway to get to entrepreneurship. So I'm excited. He's actually signing his book afterwards. So it's just going to be a full day. We got vendors in the lobby. So we'll have 4 banks there that have different programs. We'll have an accountant there. So even the lobby is intentional. We putting people there that can help move the needle in your business. So
what type of banks? Can you name the banks?
It's CIBC Bank, Providence Bank, JP Morgan, and I am forgetting one other person. You put me on the spot. But I know we'll have the Small Business Development Center there. They'll be there as well. We'll have You're gonna make me pull out my notes. But we'll have, just several. We have an accounting firm. We have Rosina Pierce, who I mentioned, plus another lawyer. She's going to be doing some free consultations. So we'll have legal services, accounting services. Of course, we'll have our marketing table there as well. And then we still gonna have retail. So we know people still like to shop. So we'll have some retail there. We'll be selling Jeezy's book. It's a Black-owned bookstore. So again, just being extremely intentional about how we circulate the dollars. I didn't mention that, but Legacy has helped circulate over $2 million at this point. I don't, when I started, I wasn't keeping track because that wasn't something I was thinking about, but we're very intentional. Almost every aspect of this event is produced by a Black entrepreneur as much as we can help it. Venue we've outgrown. That's why we got to get in that. We got to get in that industry. Go in on some property. The event decor, the design, our AV team, all of our event coordination, all of our restaurants and caterers are all Black owned. The bookstore is Black owned. Everything that we can do, because again, we have to be intentional. How do we circulate as much as possible? I tell people that with WDB, no shading, it's no other printers, but it's like you're not going to see them in the community. So yes, you may get $1 cheaper. But is it moving the bigger picture forward? So we do the same thing with our businesses and our restaurants. Like we try, again, as intentional as possible. I would probably say we're at about 90 to 95% all Black businesses that literally run every aspect of Legacy, from the design to the table linen to the AV to the entertainment.
Wow. You are still watching the Progressive Mind Show. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. For those of you who just joined in, this is the second part of tonight's show. We're talking to Kiana Barber, who is the founder and owner of WDB Marketing, producers of the Legacy Awards Gala 2024. This is their 7th annual, and he's joined by Freddie Taylor, who is also the founder of Urban Intellectuals. And we're talking about the day of the event. The 3-day events and some of the specific activities that will be going on. We'll talk about the Saturday in a little bit. Freddie has given us a background of his work in Africa and elsewhere, and how he is ready for this this event. You've also heard some of the speakers that are coming. Please share the feed to promote this event. Again, from me, I haven't yet witnessed or seen or heard any other excellent, professionally put together Black event in Chicago, especially centered around business and promoting upcoming entrepreneurs. Again, please correct me if I'm wrong. Freddie and Kiana, you guys have been in this system for a long time, but for the past few years I've been in Chicago. I've heard about it, and I've been to it, and it's an exemplary of Black excellence, even though it's just in its 7th year. If you see what's going on, you would see for yourself the hard work that has been put into this to represent the Black community in the most excellent way. So please support it. You may not be able to buy tickets to come, but you can, of course, share the feed here to promote, to get the word out. So folks who can buy tickets can buy tickets. Sorry if you can buy tickets. No, I'm just joking. I'm sure that Kiana may give some discounted tickets out. I got an email about a month ago about early bird tickets. I'm sure that's gone now. So if you didn't get the early bird tickets, I'm sure you would be able to get some tickets now, but you have to get it fast before they run out. We'll talk about ticket sales and where to get them in a little bit. But Freddie, what is your favorite part of this 3-day events?
I'm looking forward to the networking opportunities, to who's going to be in the room, right? Being in the professional organizations that I've been and investing in masterminds, I know what's happening on the stage is phenomenal, and you really enjoy that. But when you have an entrepreneur like Kiana and the network that she has in this space, you just know that the value and the power in that room is going to be strong. And I've been in rooms that have added 7 figures to our business because of the relationships that are built. So I look forward to going into powerful rooms like that, armed with my personality and my openness so that I can be open and remain ready for an opportunity if it presents itself. But I've given an opportunity to meet somebody that can have a powerful impact on my business, or vice versa, right? If my enterprise and my network can benefit somebody else, I'm just looking forward to the connections that's going to be made in the room. So we always tell people, you just got to get in the room. You have to get there.
Somebody wants to get in the room, but they have an impediment, which is probably the tickets, cost of tickets. Kiana, let's talk about that.
Well, we try to make them as affordable as possible. I do have a discount code. And I mean, I don't publicize, but if you really, really need to come in, you cannot afford it. You can email us at legacy@wdbmarketing.com. We want people to be there. So if you just really can't, everything do cost us, but legacy@wdbmarketing.com. But I mean, we have a promotion going on for the conference. That's $99. I know Freddie can attest to that. That is an amazing deal, for the conference. And like Freddie said, we literally do it just to make it accessible. You're right about that. Chicago really isn't Chicago entrepreneurs aren't used to going to conferences like that. So the gala is a ton of amazing galas. Chicago Urban League is a client. They have one of the biggest. Black Creativity Gala was just this past weekend. I think they had about 600 people there. So it's a lot of amazing galas, and the galas are great. It's fun. A lot of connections. The connections I mentioned with our young entrepreneurs happened at the gala. The connections with a lot of people have happened at the gala, but conference is when you can really kind of slow down. And like Freddie said, the power's in the room. So if you look at this from an ROI perspective and you say, if I spent $100, $125, I can meet one person that, I mean, we're talking about 10X, we're talking about 100X that. You can meet somebody who needs your product, somebody that you need to collaborate with. So people always ask me, well, I don't know if I'm right for the room. Everybody need to be in the room. I had my car details today, black detailer. He out. Should I come? Yeah, you should come. I say, you pass your cards out. You're a mobile detailer. You probably get at least 10 clients. And that's just one time. How many times will they come back? So people sometimes kind of put themselves out of the room. They don't feel like they're worthy for something. And it's like, no, the connections alone are worth it. The education that you can get, like Freddie said, even in the midst of this, we both went to a conference in January. So in the midst of Legacy, I still paused for 4 days, went out to that conference. And not only did I connect with some people, I also learned some things. I learned about licensing. I learned a couple of things that's like, man, when I really apply this could be $100,000. This could be, so you never know. So we just have to understand the ROI on whatever we're doing. We spend it on other things. You got to look at this. In order to grow your business, you have to invest. One of the hardest things that I know Freddie can attest to this is as you grow, the more gas you got to put on the fire. You have to. So think about it from an infancy standpoint. If you're not investing in anything, but you're expecting this huge return, that's just not how finances work. You have to invest something. So, being there and investing in it, and it's going to make you want to stay there. Let me stay this whole day. Let me get as much as I can from this. But I'm always, no matter the topics, I'm with Freddie. The power, whatever event I go to, it's a connection that I'm gonna make. That's really the thing that changes everything.
Right.
Yeah, and this is such a small investment. Like if you think about it, and I know it's like, oh, you can't count nobody's pockets, but as soon as you go outside in Chicago, you spending $100. Like you go to lunch, you park, you bang, it's gone. So it's not that you don't have the money. It's not that you might not trust yourself enough to make the investment in your future. But I can tell you that the greatest investment potential that you have is you, right? We're quick. Oh, I want to invest in Tesla. I want to invest in Microsoft. You are literally investing in other businesses and you're calling yourself an entrepreneur. Why won't you invest in yourself? What if you were in that room and you got an opportunity to speak with Kiana and she's telling you, oh, I know such and such that can solve your biggest problem in your business, but you didn't show up. So you don't know if that's even a possibility when the sister is very, I don't know about on that day, but she's very accessible and willing to help. And there are literally be hundreds of other people just like that. I don't think you can afford not to be in the room.
That's exactly how I feel. Yeah.
It's 7:46 p.m. and we're about to wrap this conversation up. If you want to share a comment or call in the number, well, we're still working on the number. We're still working on the technical issues to get a number back. So you can just share your comment in the comment section, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. It could be just congratulations, just to encourage Kiana and her team for this is not easy to put together. The consistency, the discipline, the sacrifices, and so sometimes just just encouraging words goes a long way. Is the 100 and Kiana, is the 125 for the 3 days or just for 1 day?
That's just for 1 day. So that's the conference. But like I said, if they use, we have a couple of codes. WDB client will get you the $99 conference rate. And then the gala our early bird, like you said, is gone. So the gala normally starts at 100 and 150. So they're 125 and 175. But that includes all the restaurants. So like you said, I don't know. It's hard for me to say no. So we got 20 restaurants this year. But I mean, we have Brownsville Winery. We have Can't Believe It's Not Meat and Flaves and Chef Pam's and Fork Fantasy. Like we have some of the best, and they come and show out.
So Kiana, so let's say you pay for the gala night, right? Do you have to pay for these restaurants as well, or it takes
no, that's included. So the food is included. With VIP, your drinks are included, and then we have a special VIP. I'm really excited about the venue this year. This is our first time there, but it's a beautiful VIP area that we have. But that includes that gift bag and drink tickets already, and just a different elevated experience, I like to say. But no, food is included with all, and the food happens during the reception. So people do get to Legacy on time. 6 to 8 is our reception, and then we begin our awards ceremony. So I would say 6:30. Get there early. That way you get the first bites of everything. You have time to get all your stuff before the lines get long.
Right. Let's take the few minutes left to talk about the location, where to get tickets, social media, all of that.
Yep. So they can get tickets at legacyawardsweekend.com. That's legacyawardsweekend.com. We have all the options on there. We also have all of our conference topics broken down, so you can kind of get a feel for what's happening, the virtual day and the in-person day. But legacyawardsweekend.com. The conference will be hosted at Greenwood Oasis. It's also Pastor Hannah's church. A lot of people are more familiar with that, on 76 in Greenwood. Beautiful facility. Lunch, light breakfast and lunch is included. And because we're keeping you all there, so we're gonna feed you. We're gonna keep the fuel going. And then the gala is at the old post office downtown, which is a beautiful space. A lot of people haven't been, but it's a gorgeous space. And we're taking over the entire building. So yeah, it's gonna be a beautiful, beautiful experience.
Great. Thank you for sharing. Freddie, how many of these gala awards have you attended?
This will be my first one.
The first time. Okay.
Yeah, this will be Freddie's first experience.
Great. What
I've
are
been
you
building up. I hope I don't disappoint Freddie.
Freddie, what's your expectation of what are your expectations for yourself, and what do you, in your own estimation, should be the takeaway for people who are planning to come and people who are buying tickets to come?
My expectation for myself is to be of service in the room, to add value to the room, to share my experiences, share my network, my resources with people. So Kiana is blessing me with an opportunity to be given the award. Then for service, the least that I can do is provide service while I'm in the room. So I definitely hope that I can meet the code of excellence, right? That is going to go. It was happening throughout the weekend. So that's definitely my expectation of myself. I definitely want to deliver from the stage for the people, but even while I'm networking, even while we're in the room, I just want to be of service and be an asset, to be a giver, not a taker, right, in the room. Right. So that's what I'm going in, the mentality I'm going in. But I think that the people, when they leave, I think they will be full, right? They'll be full with knowledge, with training, with networking, with people, but with inspiration from all of the Gala Award, the Legacy Award winners, and just inspiration for a sister to put on an event like this that really wears a lot of it on her back, right? And is dragging the city and this opportunity along. So to be inspired, to be reminded, right, of people like Mary McLeod Bethune that are doing things for other people in service of themselves and their community. So Sister Kiana is definitely keeping that legacy going. So I expect to be inspired and just like the rest of the audience. So I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Great. Thank you so much, Freddie. And one last question, and then we can get your closing remarks. Kiana and Freddie, this goes to both of you, but I'll take Kiana's response first. in your line of working, in your line of being an entrepreneur and just being a business person here in Chicago, what have you identified to be one of the challenging issues for Black people, Black and brown people who are trying to do a business, who have some ideas, who are already in business? And how do you think this 3-day experience is going to be the solution for that or for them?
That's a great question. I would say in two ways. A lot of us lack structure. You know, when we first start our business, we're not really, clear on the approach. That's why we're breaking it all the way down to vision and clarity and team. So a lot of us just start a business. We have an idea, we jump right into it. Some of us have quick success, some of us don't, but we're never slowing down long enough to really work on our business.
Right.
And that's the reason why I'm doing the conference. Like, you have to work on the business, not just in the business. And I would say the second thing is, and the original reason why we started, is to see what's possible. You know, that's why we put these amazing entrepreneurs and leaders on stage, is to be able to show you. And I've literally had testimony after testimony of people who've come to Legacy and be like, man, I left so inspired. I went and started this. I had given up on this and I started it back. So sometimes we have to be reminded that greatness is all around us and that it can really happen for us. So like, that's the biggest thing. So that's why I celebrate so much success. It's not really just about money. It's about showing that what Freddie was able to achieve, showing what Curl Mix, these people are from the community and what they've been able to achieve, and the power of being in a room with them. You know, feeling like you're worthy, like I'm in the same room with this company. It shows you that you really are in the right place. So,
and then you can do it.
That you can do it, you know, and that's really the reason why we do it.
Got it. Freddie, your quick response to the same question.
Yeah, well, of course, you know, financing and funding is definitely a problem in the community. That's one, but I would say collaboration, not really understanding and working together with people can get you there faster. We always want 100% of the grape instead of 10% of the watermelon. And that's really the mentality that I think is a mindset thing that we got to break as a community beyond Chicago. But I think trust is a big part of that, and maybe a little bit of ego, but we need to start collaborating and working together better.
Right. Okay. We will take our guest closing remarks. Before that, I also want to remind our audience that we talked about diaspora earlier in our conversation, and we are very proud with the Progressive Minds to be one of the first, I would say the first organization to bring kings from Africa, specifically from Ghana, to crown African Americans kings and queens, basically restoring the royalty. This has been our vision, considering what we have been through as a people, and the need for us to come and share our come together to share our common cultures as a way of healing and fostering a greater solidarity among us, because there's so much potential, so much resources, which we have not tapped due to the challenges of division that we've had. But we understand that this era is the time to come together, celebrate our cultures together, and also restore that which has been taken away from us. So June 22nd, you want to save the date and watch out for the a little bit more announcement regarding this event. June 22nd, the king is coming again. This is going to be his 4th time coming to the States to crown kings and queens. We have crowned Jesse, Congressman Daniel Davis, Mrs. Valerie Daniels Carter. We've crowned a queen of the diaspora. We've crowned Dr. Carol Adams. We've also made other folks royals of his kingdom. It's an exciting moment, exciting era. Mark the date, June 22nd this year. Is going to be a great event, another coronation ceremony of kings and queens of the diaspora. And then, of course, we're taking our big trip to Ghana, October 25th through November. So stay tuned for more of this. That without much ado, I would like to give the floor, the opportunity to our audience, to our guest, to give us our closing remarks. Kiana. I mean, we started with the lady. So this time I'll give the opportunity for Freddie to give us his closing remarks, and then we'll end with Kiana.
Well, again, thank you, brother, for having me here, and thank you, Sister Kiana, for giving me this legacy award. I would say to the people that we have to take the responsibility to work together. We need us, right? To be of service of your people. I want to impress. I'll just use my time to impress upon the people that what we need is one another. We need us coming together, working together, hiring, employing one another, buying from our businesses, mentoring our children, teaching our babies, like networking with one another. We need us, not only here in Chicago, but we need us globally. So please, please, please do what you can to learn more about our community, our history, our study, because I just know all that information is going to bring us back together. So that's what I urge you. And I think that's what you're going to get from events like Legacy that you're going to see. And on the events on the 22nd, June 22nd, I had to write that down, brother, that you're doing as well. So I love to see it. But us coming together is the spirit what we need. Nobody, Dr. John Henry Clerk always says, no one has ever done us any favors. Right. So if you're looking for a friend, you better look in the mirror. So this is our mirror. We're holding it up to ourselves and we're seeing smiling faces. So it's time to come together and work together.
Thank you very much. Kiana.
I kind of want to ditto what Freddie said. I thought that was perfect. But I mean, yeah, no, really, honestly, the same sentiment. It's funny that Freddie mentioned that about just the collaboration, but that's a big part of our theme this year too, that it's so much power in working together. You know, we do too many things alone. You know, we standing alone. We trying to figure these things out alone. If you look at the big brands, they're collaborative. The Frito-Lays, all of these were brands that merged together at some point. Even WDB. Always people see me and my partner together now, but that's not how it was when we first started. I had WDB. He merged his brand underneath ours. I had to let go of equity. So sometimes you got to let go of something for the bigger picture. And I think that so many of us are solopreneurs, stuck feeling that we can't move. And you have to be able to learn to trust and build with somebody else. The vision going to be always bigger when you got support. You know, when you get tired, you got somebody else to lean on and vice versa. So we're really just pushing the spirit of collaboration this year and just going forward, because again, like Freddie said, we stronger together. And the other thing is just get in the room. You know, we all have them limiting beliefs about who we are and what we should do. Get in the room. You ain't got to be perfect. You ain't got to have a perfect outfit. You know, just come ready to change, come ready to shift in some type of way. Just get in the room and I promise you're going to find somebody to connect with. So don't be afraid and don't talk yourself out of opportunity just because you feel like you're not ready.
Got it. Wow. Thank you so much, Kiana, Barbara, for coming on the show. Brother Freddie Taylor, looking forward to this great event. Check it out. Go on the website of Legacy Awards Gala 2024 or WDB Marketing. Get your tickets and let's see you all there. Thank you so much, Felicia, for pulling this together. And for those who join us, thank you for your support. Again, remember to go get your tickets for this great event coming up, Legacy Awards 2024. See you there. This has been your host. Remember, to whom much is given, much is required. Have a wonderful evening, guys. Bye-bye.